The civilization of Sri Lanka is more than 2,500 years old. Its recorded history commences from around the 6th century BC. In earlier times, the island was known by different names such as Serendip, Tambapanni and Sihaladvipa. After the arrival of the European colonial powers, it was commonly known as Ceylon. The Aryan settlements were established during the 5th or 6th centuries BC, primarily in the north-central province. The chronicles record that the earliest settlers were the Sinhalese, who derived from a North Indian group of settlers. They established independent kingdoms, including Anuradhapura in the north-central region. Buddhism was introduced by Arahat Mahinda, the son of the Indian Mauryan Emperor Ashoka in the 3rd century BC, and quickly became the religion of the state. The city of Anuradhapura became the seat of government. On a number of occasions, it had to struggle with South Indian invaders, and in the 11th century AD, the capital moved from Anuradhapura to Polonnaruwa. A new era dawned in the annals of the Sri Lankan history with the advent of the Portuguese, who began to occupy the strategic centers of the coastal region of the island since the year 1505, starting from Colombo. By 1597, the Portuguese took formal control of the coastal regions of the island. However, they failed to dislodge the powerful Sinhalese kingdom in Kandy. With the help of the Dutch, the Sinhalese kings were able to expel the Portuguese from Sri Lanka in 1658. The Dutch administration, manned by a trading company that was mainly interested in trade and making profits, nevertheless succeeded in ruling the maritime regions up until 1796. They handed over their possessions in the island to the British in 1796 without any bloodshed. In 1815, British troops defeated the Sinhalese kingdom of Kandy and became the first European power to rule the entire island. Sri Lanka gained independence from the British in 1948 and adopted a democratic socialist system of government. In 1972, the country became a republic and adopted Sri Lanka as its official.
On a goodwill visit to Ceylon, the cruiser Norfolk joins in the Crown Colony's independence celebrations. Like its harbour, Colombo streets are dressed up to mark this great day. For the island's 6.5 million population, it's a public holiday. Belying the air of festivity are the crowd's solemn faces, expectant but not overexcited. Ceylon is taking independence quietly. But soon, all eyes are turned to the decorated Pandal archway, through which the car carrying the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester is driven to the Assembly Hall. Wearing the sash of the Garter, the Duke takes the salute. Around him are gathered the people who will form Ceylon's first government. From a raised dais, the Duchess watches the Duke, accompanied by the Prime Minister and the Governor-General, raise the flag of the new Dominion. After 146 years of British rule, Ceylon joins the British Commonwealth of Nations as an independent member.
Once again, good morning everyone. National Day, also known as Independence Day, is annually celebrated on the 4th of February to commemorate the country's political independence from British rule in 1948. It's celebrated all over the country through flag hoisting ceremonies, dances, parades and performances. Usually, the main celebration takes place in Colombo, where the President raises the national flag, sings the national anthem and delivers a nationally televised speech. Many national struggles were made in the history of Sri Lanka, and on Independence Day, all of these are remembered and celebrated. The British Ceylon period in the history of Sri Lanka is between 1815 and 1948. It follows the fall of the Kandyan Kingdom into the hands of the British Empire. It ended over 2,300 years of Sinhalese monarchy rule. The British rule on the island lasted until 1948, when the country regained its independence.
කරුණාකාර අධ්‍යක්ෂක මංගල විජේකුලරත්න මහතා, අධ්‍යක්ෂිකා මාර්ය සිල්වා මැතිණිය, පරිපාලන නිලධාරී නිසල්වනාත මහතා, විදුහල්පති W දුනුගම මහතා, නියෝජ්‍ය විදුහල්පති ආචාර්ය තරිඳු පැන්දගමුගේ මහතා, සියලු උපවිදුහල්පතිවරුන්, දෙපාර්තමේන්තු ප්‍රධානීන්, ගුරුවරුන්, ඇතුළු ශිෂ්‍ය ශිෂ්‍යාවන්ට සුබෝදෑසනක්. අපි හැමෝම දන්නවා ඊයේ දිනය ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන් හැටියට අපි සියලු දෙනාට ඉතා විශේෂ දවසක්. වසර 2500කටත් වඩා එහාට දිව යන ඉතිහාසයකට හිමිකම් කියන ප්‍රෞಢ ජාතික ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන් 1815 වර්ෂයේදී විදේශ ආක්‍රමණිකයින්ට යටත් වුණා. එතෙන් පටන් අපේ රටේ දේශීය සිරිත් කලාව, ශිල්ප ටිකෙන් ටික අභාවයට ගියා. නමුත් කුමකෝ වාසනාවකට අපේ රටේ සිටි උගතුන්, බුදුමතුන්, වික්ෂුන් වහන්සේලා නැවත නිදහස ලබා ගැනීමට නොඑක ආකාරයෙන් පෙළ ගැසුණා. ලංකාවේ මුල්ම නිදහස් සටන 1818 වර්ෂයේදී ආරම්භ වෙනවා. නිදහස සඳහා දැරූ ප්‍රථම උත්සාහය එතනදී අසාර්ථක වුණා. වීර කැප්පෙටිපොළ වැනි උදාර නායකයින් නිදහස වෙනුවෙන් දිවි පිටුවා. පළමු උත්සාහය ප්‍රතිඵල මල්පල ගැන්වුණේ නැති නමුත් ඔවුන් දෙවන යුද්ධයද ආරම්භ කළේ රට තමන්ගේ කර ගැනීමට තිබුණු අරමුණ නිසායි. ඒ 1948 මාතලේ ප්‍රදේශයේදී. නමුත් එය පවා අසාර්ථක වීමත් සමග ධාරිය මහන්සිය මතකා ඔවුන් රට වෙනුවෙන් දෙවන යුද්ධයට ආරම්භනවා. විශේෂයෙන් නිදහස් සටනට අවියෙන් පමණක් නොව කවියෙන් පවා සටන් කිරීමට එස් මහින්ද හිමි වැනි උදාර මිනිසුන් රට ජාතිය වෙනුවෙන් පෙළඹී සිටියා. ඔවුන් සියලු දෙනා අද අපට උදාර නායකයින්. 1945 දී දෙවන යුද්ධයෙන් පසු බ්‍රිතාන්‍ය තීරණයකට අනුව 1948 පෙබරවාරි 4 වන දින අපට නිදහස ලැබෙනවා. කියන්නේ මීට අවුරුදු 73කට පෙර ඊයේ වගේ දවසක. නමුත් අපි ආපහු හැරී බලනකොට අපි ලැබූ ප්‍රගතිය ප්‍රමාණවත්ද? ඒ අපේම ජනතාවගේ ලේධාරිය කැප කර ලබාගත් නිදහසෙන් වැඩක් තියනවද? ඉතින් අපේ රට සංවර්ධනය කර ඉන්දියන් සාගරයේ මුතු ඇටය කියලා තවදුරටත් කියන්න පුළුවන්ද කියන වගකීම තිබෙන්නේ අපේ අතේ. ස්තුතියි.
நன்றி சதிகி. மதிப்புக்குரிய எமது பாடசாலையின் இயக்குனர் திரு மங்கள விஜயகுலரத்ன, இயக்குனர் திருமதி மாரி சில்வா, இயக்குனரின் ஒருங்கிணைப்பாளர் திரு நிசால் பெர்னாண்டோ, அதிபர் திரு W துனுகாம, உப அதிபர் டாக்டர் தரிந்து பரந்தகாமகே, துணை அதிபர்கள், ஒருங்கிணைப்பாளர்கள், துறை தலைவர்கள், ஆசிரியர்கள் மற்றும் எனது அன்பான சகோதர சகோதரிகள் அனைவருக்கும் எனது காலை வணக்கங்கள். நாம் அனைவரும் நமது தாய் திரு நாட்டின் 63வது சுதந்திர தினத்தை கொண்டாடுவதற்காக இங்கு கூடியிருக்கிறோம். இது நமது தேசிய தினமாக கொண்டாடப்படுகிறது. நமது நாடு சுதந்திரம் அடைவதற்காக தம்மை அர்ப்பணித்து அனைவருக்கும் மரியாதை செலுத்தி அவர்களை நினைவு கூர்ந்து இத்திருநாட்டின் அனைத்து மக்களும் இன மத மொழி பேதமின்றி இந்த சுதந்திர தினத்துக்காக தம்மை அர்ப்பணித்ததை போன்று நாமும் ஒற்றுமையாக செயற்பட்டு எம் நாட்டை உலகில் அமைத்துக்கும் உதாரணமாக நாடாக மாற்றி வளமிக்க அபிவிருத்தியை நோக்கி முன்னேறுவோம். நன்றி. Now I hand over the mic to my colleague Amira Zainab.
The Managing Director, Mr. Mangala Vijayakularatne, Directors, Mrs. Mari Silva, Administrator, Mr. Nisal Fernando, Principal, Mr. W. Dunugama, Deputy Principal, Dr. Tharindu Kalandagamage, Vice Principals, Coordinators, Heads of Departments, Teachers, and my dear brothers and sisters. A very good morning to all of you. We are gathered here today to celebrate a very special occasion. On February 4th, 1948, Sri Lanka gained freedom from the British rule. Sri Lanka had remained a British colony from 1815 to 1948 and had been under the Portuguese and Dutch rule prior to this. On this day, we celebrate our national heroes and patriots. If it hadn't been for their constant, tireless efforts and patriotism, we would still be a colony after this very day. D.S. Senanayake was appointed as the first Prime Minister, and he is also considered as the father of the nation. In 1972, William Gopalava became the first president of Sri Lanka. It's a very special day to us since we are given an opportunity to reminisce our past, pay our due respect to national heroes, and be thankful for being an independent nation. We have been living together with different nationalities and religions in peace, unity, and harmony since time immemorial. This day is one of the many times where we feel proud to be Sri Lankans. Even at present, we have been faced with an enormous challenge where the whole world is suffering from a dangerous pandemic. Times like this call for unity and teamwork, just like our war heroes did back in the day. Let us be a nation that sets an example for others during this time of crisis, so we can finally reach a new normal. Today, we celebrate 73 years of independence, and we couldn't be more proud of it. As Sri Lankans, let us make it our top priority to protect this freedom and unity and overcome the crisis that we are facing at present. Thank you.
ඒ ක්‍රිස්තු වර්ෂ 1818යි. ඈත නමුණුකුලත් කොක්කලටත් නාරංගලටත් මැදිව ඌව සහ බින්තැන්නේත් ගල්ලොය නිම්නේ වෙල්ලසේත් දුම්බර මිටියාවතේ හා වලපනේ තැනතැනත් දුම්රොටු අහසට නැගෙමින් තිබුණේ. ගිනිගත් නිවාස විනාශ වූ අටුකොටු මෙන්ම අයාලේගිය සතුන්ගේ අඳෝනා කෙඳිරිලි තැනින් තැන ඇසුනේ. ගලන ගංගාදියේ පැහැය රතු විය. පළතුරු උයනේ පලෙන් බර තුරුලතා වෙනුවට මලකඳන් එල්ලූ මහා රෝස රුක්ෂයෝ වූහ. ඒ 1818යි. ලාංකීය දේශය සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම විජාතකයෙකුට නතුව කෙවුණු දෙවන වසරයි. 1815 මාර්තු 2 වෙනිදා මගුල් මඩුවේ දළදා හිමි පෙනෙනමානේ සුදුරෙත්තක් කෙලා තිබූ හිස්පුටුවකට ඔටුනු පළඳවා රට සින්නක් කර ලියා දෙද්දී වාරියපොළ සුමංගල හිමියන් ඉංග්‍රීසි කොඩිය බිමදමා පාගා සිංහ කොඩිය ඔසවා පෙන්වූ පරාධීනත්වයෙන් මිදීමේ එඩිතර ක්‍රියාව සිදුවී ගෙවුණු දෙවන වසරයි. එදා රජුගේ කුරිරුකම්වලින් බැටකා සිටි ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයෝ අන්සරණක් සොයද්දී ජෝන් ඩොයිලි නම් ඉංග්‍රීසි ජාතික කෛරාටිකයා උපක්‍රමශීලීව රට අල්ලාගෙන තිබුණේ. අනේ කූඹියනේ උඹටත් රජෙක්කින්නේ අපට නම් නැත්තේ අපටත් රජෙක් ලැබුණෝතින් කැවුම් කිරිපත් කඤ්ඤං පෙරහැරපාන්නං. 1815 කිවිසුම ප්‍රකාරව ගමරට බලා යන හිමි නමක් කූඹිරැලක් දැක කනස්සල්ලෙන් කිව්වේ ඒ නිසාය. රාජ්‍ය උරුමය හිමි කුමාරයෙක් නැතිව ලක්වැසියෝ ලත වෙද්දී ලංකාවේ පළතුරු උයනයයි විරුදාවලියලත් වෙල්ලස්සේ වැසියෝ සටනට මුල පිරූහ. පරාධීනත්වයෙන් සසලව සිටි සස්්‍රීක උරුමයක පංගුකරුවෝ තුන්කෝරලේ විල්බාවේ කොවිපුතෙක් කීර්තිශ්‍රී මහාවාසර නමින් වෙල්ලස්සේ රජකර වූයේ කතරගම දෙවියන්ගේද ආශිර්වාදයෙනි.
ඔබයි අපේ රජු අපට නායකත්වය ලබා දෙන්න.
ඒ ක්‍රිස්තු වර්ෂ 1818යි. ස්වදේශිකයන්ගෙන් පැවතෙන කිව්ලේ ගෙදර මොහොට්ටාල, බූටෑවෙරාල, කොහුකුඹුරේරාල, හිටිහාමි, ගොඩේ ගෙදර අධිකාරම්ලා උහන් වෙලේ ගමන් මාලිකයේදී ඔහුට ඔටුනු පැළඳවීය. ලෝකයේ යටත් විජිත රාජ්‍යයක් තම නිදහස වෙනුවෙන් දෙයක් කළ පළමු සටන ඌවේත් වෙල්ලස්සේ තැන තැන සංවිධාන වූයේ මෙලෙසිනි. ස්වදේශිකයෝ සටනට ජවය සැපයූහ. සටන උපායශීලී විය. පොතුබන්ධන විහාරයේ නායක නාපේ රේවත හිමි වැනි මහා සංඝයා අරගල බිමේ පෙරගමන් යද්දී අංගම් ඉලංගම් මායා අංගම් පිළිබඳ කෙළ පැමිණි ස්වදේශික ජව සම්පන්න හමුදා සේනාංග සටන් බිමේ හරම පෑහ. සිල්වෙස්ටර් ඩග්ලස් විල්සන් වෙල්ලස්සේ ජනජීවිතය ගැන තීන්දු ගතයුත්තා නොවන බව සුද්දාට මතක් කර දෙමින් සුදේශිකයෝ ඊතනවත්තේ දේවාලයේදී නිදහස ඉල්ලා පැතූහ.
අවසරයි නමෝ තදවරන් දිවත් පස්වාම දාසකට යාපති ආයුබෝවණ්ඩවෝ මෙම ජයග්‍රහණේ ලංකර ගණ්ඨ ශක්තිය ධෛර්ය වාසනාව ලංකර දෙවාවදා.
බ්‍රවුන් රිග් හොඳටම කුපිත විය. කැප්පෙටිපොළ නිලමේ වෙල්ලස්සට පිටත් කර ඇරියේ සටන දිය කර හරින්නටය. කාලයක් තම සිතේ මෝදුගුණු පරාධීනත්වයෙන් මිදීමේ චේතනාව මල්පල ගැනනුදුටු අභිහිත කැප්පෙටිපොළ වෙල්ලස්සේ සටන් බිමට ආවේ කාලයක් රට සෙවූ අභිහිත නායකත්වය වෙල්ලස්සට උරුම කරමිනි.
සිංහලොත් එක එකතු වෙන්ට සිංහලොත් එක එකතු වෙන්ට ඔබතුමාගේ සහයෝගය අපට අවශ්‍යයි.
අලුපොත වෙලේදී හමු වූ වෙල්ලස්සේ නායකින් සමග කැප්පෙටිපොළ මහා සෙන්පතියා සටනට නායකත්වය දුන්නේය.
මේක මගේ රට බලව් තොපි බලයව.
නම්බුකාර මොනරවිල කැප්පෙටිපොළ සුද්දාගේ බයනෙත්තුවේ එල්ලා බ්‍රවුන් රික්ට කියා පෑවේ මේ අපේ රට කියාය. දුන්නෙන් ඊතලයෙන් තෝමරයෙන් කළ දේශීය සටන් ශිල්ප ක්‍රම උපාය උපක්‍රම බ්‍රවුන් රික්ට නින්ද නැති කළේය. හිමිවරුන් වෙදුන් ගොවියෝ මතු නොව බූටෑවේරාලගේ තියනිය රන්මැණිකේ වෙදහාමිනේද සටන් බිමේ සෙබළුන්ට ප්‍රතිකාර කළේ වීරකාන්තාවන්ගේ සහයද සටනට එකතු කරමිනි. ලාංකීය උරුමයේ මුදුන්මල්කඩ වූ ශ්‍රී දළදාව සුද්දාට හොරා මාලිකයෙන් පිටට වැඩියේ මහා සංඝයාගේද ආශිර්වාදයෙනි. හඟුරංකිත වෙලේදී තමන්දුටු දළදාවේ නාමයෙන් රට රැකුමට පෙරට එන්න නයිදේලා රාලලා අප්පුලා එකා පස එකා පෙළකැසුනාහ. සටන දිනනමානය විය. කන්ද උඩරටට කොට වූ බ්‍රවුන් රික් සහ ඔහුගේ බිරිඳ කොළඹයා නොහි මරණ බියෙන් විරාන්තව සිටියේය. නමුත් අද මෙන්ම එදත් පාවාදීම එලෙසම සිදුවිය. හාමාපොළ රන්කිරිගේ කන් දෙකෙන් ගලාගිය රුධිරය පාවා නොදුන් වීර කාන්තාවකගේ ආත්මය පාට කරද්දී ගොවියෙකු රජවනු දැක උරණ වූ රදලයෝ පගෝති වෙනුවෙන් රටක් පාවා දුන්හ. සුද්දෝ ලාංකීය ජනජීවිතයද විනාශ කළහ. ඌවේ කඳවුරු බඳගත් උන් කෙවිලියෝ දූෂණය කළහ. ළමයින් බයිනෙත්තුවේ එල්ලුවේය. පරණගමත් කොටබෝවේත් මඩුල්ලත් වදක භූමි විය. පරණගම සියඹලා ගසේ ශෝකී සෙවනැල්ල අදත් ගසේ එල්ලූ මලවුන්ගේ රෝරටා මවමින් දුක්වෙයි. ආසියාවේ මහා නිදහස් අරගලය දියාරුවිය. වයස 18ට වැඩි සියලු පිරිමින් මරා දැමූහ. වතු පිටි හරකබාන ගිනි තැබීය. බවලත්හු පානමට යාපනයට කඳු මුදුන්වලට පැනගියහ. බලවත්තු සුද්දාගේ තාන්න මාන්න ලැබූහ. කැප්පෙටි පොළගේ ප්‍රතාපවත් හිස නිවටුන් පාවා දෙන්නන් නිතිරයේ කඳින් වෙන් වූයේ ආසියාවේ මහා අරගලය නිමා කරමිනි.
කොටාවිය බෙල්ලට
හිස සිඳී කිය වීර කැප්පෙටි පොළගේ කවන්දය ඍජුව නැගී සිටියේ අභීත විරුවන්ගේ ආත්මය මරණින් මතුද නැගී සිටින බව සිහිකන්වමිනි.
Tunhele kala tura singha bata
Thank you, brothers and sisters, for that amazing performance. Now, I would like to invite our dear Vice Principal, Ms. Ranmali Vettasinghe, to deliver a few words to the gathered audience.
Freedom from dependence is independence. Good morning to all of you. Our dear Managing Director, Mr. Mangala Vijayakularatne, the coordinator to the director, dear principal, vice principals, and the deputy principal is not here today, vice principals, coordinators, heads of departments, my dear teachers, and my dear sons and daughters. We know that we have gathered to commemorate the 73rd independence of Sri Lanka, our national day, the national day of our country. It was yesterday we celebrated proudly. So first and foremost, I would like to convey my thanks for giving me this opportunity to address you in this memorable occasion. As we all know that we as a nation got the political independence in 1948. We know our neighboring country, India, also was a colony of the British. Till the very end, they had to struggle a lot and they lost a lot of their lives. So with a big struggle, they achieved that freedom. But we were fortunate due to the untiring effort and the wisdom of our national heroes. We gained the political independence without shedding a single drop of blood and losing lives. But as you have seen in the past, there were so many rebellions that they have fought against the foreign invaders to get the freedom for our country. So it is our duty to recall them, to reminisce the past, recall our heroes who have contributed, who have sacrificed a lot to our mother nation. So it is our duty. So at least once a year, we have to pay our tribute to them. So that's enough. They have done their duty towards their country, towards the motherland. So, we were fortunate to get the political independence. Still, can we be really happy? Can we really enjoy the full freedom or the full independence as a nation? There's a question mark. So still, we are not completely independent. Still, for some of our basic needs, we depend on other nations. So, that gives you a sense. So, our ancestors have done their duty to bring the nation up to this state. So, we also have to perform our duties. We also have to take our responsibilities. Have you realized what is your responsibility? What are the duties that I have to perform towards my country, towards my family, towards my school? It's really good now. We, in the audience, we have the young adults with us today. So I'm speaking to you, my dear children. The front rows, they are doing their best to give you that strength. So have you realized that I have something to do towards my school, towards my mother, father, towards my nation? If those people have not done that day, can we talk about the freedom today? No. So in the future, it's up to you to drive our nation towards gaining the complete independence. That is the day that we can be really happy, we can enjoy the real freedom. When it comes to freedom, I would like to ask from you, what is freedom? Just forget about independence. What is freedom? People talk much about freedom. We like to be free. Freedom means we think that we can do whatever we want the way that we want. Is that real freedom? No. When it comes to freedom, so what is the actual freedom? Freedom is having free will. Of course, yes, we can have free will to gain, to obtain, to reach our targets. And being without undue and unjust constraints. Undue and unjust constraints. Right? So that means when it comes to freedom, that's limitation. My freedom ends up by the other one's nose. I can't stretch myself more than that. Then I hinder the other one's freedom. That is why, time to time, there were, without understanding that, right, thinking about their own freedom, some people have done wrong things. So there were problems we faced, so many problems. That is why still we are struggling. Even after 73 years' time, we could not achieve our real targets. So our ancestors, we have to proudly talk about them, our past. But still, that is alone is not enough. What is my responsibility towards that? So I also have to do something to drive the nation towards that. So you all, as young adults, think about that. What are your abilities? What are your capabilities? What are my skills? Right? So if you understand that only, you can help, you can contribute to the mother nation to achieve those targets. That is the important thing, what I want to stress you. So I was talking about the freedom. So people are fighting for their rights, right? Forgetting their responsibilities. And so when it comes to this freedom, I have to think about the other one. If I don't perform my duty, then how can I protect the right of the other one's freedom? Right? For this, I'll tell you a small story. There was a young girl dressed in a Candian sari and walking in the Candy city. So all of a sudden, it started raining. So she was not ready with an umbrella that day. So she went inside a shop to cover herself, to protect herself from the rain. And she started blaming, what is this? There was no sign of rain today. Why it is all of a sudden started raining? These words were heard by the shopkeeper. He came near that girl and said, why are you telling so? Don't you know that there must be rain today? How come? So then she has looked at that man, the gentleman. Then he has said, you being a Buddhist young girl, don't you know that today is the day that Kapitavana Mangalya of the procession of the temple of Tooth Relic. So when she looked at the person, she got amazed and ashamed. person was not a Buddhist. That person was a Muslim. So what can we gain by this? So this had happened like 40 to 50 years back. This is a true story. Because that young girl, young lady, was my mother-in-law. She's the one who told me this story, the experience that she had. So that day, she had thought, oh my God, they even respect our religion. So that means irrespective of religion, race, caste, our people have worked together. Our people have understood the values of the nation. They have considered those things as our own treasure, right? So that is the spirit that we should have. That is the unity. That is what we need. This dreadful situation that we are facing today due to the COVID pandemic, if we work together only, we can win that. And separately, if we understand our duties and responsibilities only, we can win that. But most of the people just blaming the government, they are not doing anything. Blaming the other, putting the ball on the other. What are my duties? So we have to think about that, right? So success is not a destiny. Success is a journey. So you have to work hard. Once you achieve something, don't stop from there. Go ahead. So try to achieve, have proper targets and try to achieve those targets. Because that is what you have to do as the duty towards your motherland, towards your school. There are student and entrepreneurs. Do we have? There are young inventors. Do we have? Innovative thinkers. Do we have? So doing different things is not the important thing. As our director always says, do something differently. That is what we want. So I make a request from our young adults. Please think, are you ready? Some of our kids are in this year or next year, they are leaving to the society. They leave school. And in another 1 or 2 years, you all also. So have you ever questioned from yourself, am I ready to take up that challenge? Am I ready to do something towards my country, towards the whole world, towards the mankind? Think. You're having all that spirits and courage and the knowledge. Only thing that you had to realize, you had to find it and polish them. So think differently and do something new. So today, again thanking you for giving me this opportunity. I wish all of you to have that courage and blessings. We are always giving our blessings to our children. So may you be able to reach your heights and perform your duties toward the motherland. Thank you so much. May the Triple Gem bless you.
Thank you very much, dear teacher, for those valuable words. Now, I would like to invite our dear Managing Director, Mr. Mangala Vijayakularatne, to address the audience.
ODA to the Director, Vice Principals, HODs, teachers, and my dear sons and daughters. Thank you for giving this opportunity, another memorable day, to explain few words for independence. As you all know, yesterday we completed the 73rd year of independence. As a mark of respect and gratitude to those great leaders, including Vellassar, Veera Kappetikola, I also request you all to at least observe an additional 1 minute silence, please. That's something great. That's the best we can do for them. Okay, thank you very much. Now, instead of talking all about our great heroes who sacrificed their lives today, I think something surprising I got to note, starting with that girl talking about something of independence and ask the question, have we got independence in its true sense? When Ms. Ranmali raised the same issue. That's the biggest question. Ladies and gentlemen, it's questionable. As you all know, freedom cannot be gauged by looking at the number of vehicles flying on the road or number of cell phones you all have. The test of the pudding is in the eating. There's a whole statement. So, the political independence and the economic independence you can gauge by looking at the people's faces. If there are happy faces, I think most of people have got some freedom. Today most of the people, when you look at them, most of them are not that happy. That means they have not achieved independence in its true sense. As you all know, I have explained a little extra because I'm happy, as Ms. Brunley said, there are teenagers, adult students here, so that they can understand what I'm talking. Sometimes we get a gathering of 1 to 4, 5, 6, they will not understand what I'm talking. Yes, you know, the first thing is, we have a constitution. That's the supreme. It's the body of rules that govern a particular country, a democratic country. In UK you have what is called an unwritten constitution. But here we have a written constitution. That says, you know, in order to get independence, there are 3 organs in a government. Namely, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Those are 3 organs of any democratic country. Executive, president, and the prime ministers and the cabinet ministers, they take decisions. Legislature is the parliament, which is supreme. And they are the people who bring laws. Whether these laws are good or bad, and the interpretation of the law is done by the judiciary. I think as young boys and girls, you should know this. So, ladies and gentlemen, these 3 organs should, they say, work in hand in glove, close relationship. There can't be any differences. There should be close relationship with these 3. And also they say, there should be, in order to get true independence, as she said, independence is not only the will of the people is limited, right? But whatever is said and done, in order to get true independence, these 3 organs must work separately. That is called SOP, separation of powers. As Montesquieu, the famous author, said, there should be separation of powers, rights and duties of these 3, in order to run a country with good freedom. Right? So, that provides checks and balances. And then the thing is that also prevents abuse of power and also avoid autocracy. That's why you need separation of powers. And therefore, judiciary cannot interfere with the executive. Executive should not interfere with the judiciary. And also the legislature, the parliament, cannot interfere with the judiciary. They must work like hand in glove with respect to each other, but there can't be any abuse of power. That's what it says. Now, as you know, last government brought some good things as well. The 19th Amendment to the Constitution mentioned what is called freedom, right to information. Section 12A of the Constitution says right to information. That means good old days, you all as citizens of this country, whatever politicians do, we didn't know what they were doing. What the price they paid for to acquire that land, this property, that property. Now you have, as citizen, you have a right to inquire. You go to right information desk and you can ask for it. And you know this, another important thing of freedom is, aspect of freedom is sovereignty. Sovereignty. That we got it, we got our independence from the Britishers. Last. What do you mean sovereignty is, you are sovereign. You all have what is called this executive power is vested in you all, are enshrined in you all, more than vested. Executive power, the legislature and the judiciary, all are with you. You all have the sovereignty. That is given in the Article 4 of the Constitution of this country. So, temporarily, ladies and gentlemen, my dear sons and daughters, it is vested by vote to this so-called government in power. Remember? So what I feel is, throughout the last 73 years, my experience is that they have not been very true in their responsibility. It was not done properly. For example, now the latest is the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. There, the President is totally immune. He can do anything what he wants. Good old days, one President, Mr. Jayadhan, what he said was, what I cannot do as a President with executive power is to make a man a woman. But this, I feel, they can do that also. Right? There are no, so much of power that the government expenditure cannot be audited. Tenders, government tenders can go without any competition. All these are, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear sons and daughters, disadvantage to the citizens of this country. We don't, that's a serious drawback. Now let's talk about the independence of United States, the country, where I understand the democracy is well observed there, because I am 30 years in and out of that country. There also there is a Declaration of Independence. It was the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, 245 years ago, 4th of July 1976. That's the day of independence of the United States. Now, you have seen the Statue of Liberty. That's a symbol of independence. That embodies, ladies and gentlemen, American independence and freedom. American dream is based on freedom, equality, and justice for all. These principles are the foundation of this nation and give its citizens hope for a progressive and promising future. The immigrants who saw the Statue of Liberty from the ship hope to live out the American dream, which also promised a future full of opportunities. Now there are 5 principles of government that is common to us also. Don't think that I am talking about America. We have to follow the leaders, what they do, and they are more independent than our citizens here. Now these are the 5 principles. Existence of law. very important. Existence of God, there's someone above us, whatever the religion that you adopt. Then, inalienable rights of individuals. People's rights cannot be alienated. You can't give it anybody. They are still protected. The government responsible to protect the rights. Then right to vote. Out of those 5, since people don't believe in God, only this pandemic situation is also maybe due to that. People are going for, they don't believe in higher-ups. People go crazy, they I don't know, they made this virus or not, going for pleasure, materialistic gains, capture power. They don't believe that the innocent people, many people will be in danger. So therefore, most people today don't believe in higher-ups votes. So what is available here in this country, to my knowledge, is right to vote. That is also, I think, sometime back to the British time, I think the one governor, I forget his name, he did not allow women to vote. Why? They saw the women in Sri Lanka at that time were illiterate. They don't have any political sense, political background. But today, of course, with the independence, we are going. So that's all about that. Now we'll just talk about, I talk about America, just we'll talk about Singapore, another Asian country that developed to the maximum. There's almost closer to zero corruption. And I feel the citizens of Singapore are enjoying their freedom to the maximum. Now what are they? Have gone 3 basic principles. See whether these things are available in our country. We talk about freedom. One is called meritocracy. M. What does this mean is only the qualified people will be sent to the parliament. Very qualified people. Sometimes in Singapore government, the ministers are having 2 degrees, MBAs. And the secretary is having a PhD, if you see agriculture. The right people, number 1. Number 2 is called pragmatism. The English meaning of pragmatism means, in short and sweet, even if the cat is made out of clay, the cat should be able to catch mice. So, number 1 is you must have the right qualification, experience, everything. That alone is not sufficient. You must be able to do your job properly. Pragmatism. And lastly, most important thing is honesty. There should be transparency in doing all this work. That is why Singapore country 50-60 years ago was only the job they did was trading, prostitution and drug trafficking. I can remember. They were traveling up and down through that country. But thanks to Lee Kuan, not only the education, the patriotism, he had a vision. So these are the principles he based in order to achieve success today. Singapore Airlines, if you know, is the Star Alliance, the top airline, safest and the top airlines in the world. But see about our country. Now, are we having economic independence or economic growth? If you think of the statistics today, our country is debt for about something like $13.1 trillion to the rest of the world. So much of loans we have taken. I don't know how much fraction of the loan has been put to economic growth. Or does that go to the hands of the politicians? That's the biggest problem. Today, if you all know, average, I'm talking, the revenue per day is about 5 billion. But the expenditure is about 7 billion. How to meet this gap? What politicians now, very nicely, with various interpretations, what they do is try to sell our assets of the country. That's why I saw in some YouTube stuff, they are talking Sinhala, Portuguese, Landesi, English and Vendesi. And now they are going to auction. There's unequal distribution of wealth. Remember? That's important. The worst that a country can face is politicians in developing and underdeveloped countries are corrupt. You can't help it. Because they are up to mischief. Because of the education, environment and all that, you know. But in most developed countries, I observed, officials are not corrupt. The government secretaries downwards. They are very honest. So they can't play around. And the media is playing a very serious role, condemning politicians. Therefore, American president can't drop. Singapore president can't drop. France president can't drop. Canadian president can't drop. But here, the sad story is, even the officials are corrupt. So there is no end in that. So we have to rectify this situation. So in this way, I feel there is not much of good future for our younger generation. Now, some time back, I got into a three-wheeler, 2 times. When I was returning from Qatar. One three-wheeler driver I asked, I thought, was a young man, you know, I asked, what are you doing? So, what is your qualification? So, he is driving a three-wheeler. He was. And he is also now. So, I have passed in A-level physics and mathematics. This fellow is driving a three-wheeler. Another fellow I met, he is a commerce man. He has got A-level commerce. So I asked, why you are doing that? Why you all don't study well? You are wasting. This is what is called working population. The country, what is most important is the working population. We are coming under aging population. We have done our job. Working population is asset to any country. This is what is happening. Finally, this three-wheeler fellow get into drugs. Up to all Mr. Sir, no sir, there are no jobs. We have got 2 passes A-level. There are no prospects for us. There are no what is called training centers for us to enhance our skills. Even if you get a job, it's about some 10-15,000 rupees. This three-wheeler will earn me more than 25 to 30,000. I am happy. I have asked my mother to sell part of this land and buy this. So this is the mentality. Who is responsible for this, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear sons and daughters? The government. Government is solely responsible. Now, once again, few days back, I saw another news item. A village called Alapakkam, 40 kilometers away from Anuradhapura. It is in the provincial district of Tantrimal. Not only one, here you find 1 or 2 up looking poor, but here the whole village, men and women are poor. They don't have proper meals. You all are very fortunate that way. Sometimes you have a whole day meal, 1 day meal, they use for 3-4 days. Sad story to listen. So, ladies and gentlemen, and my sons and daughters, yes, how can we have faced this situation, how we can see happy faces in the future in our younger generation, and what are your duties as a citizen? What you can contribute to the society? Okay, from the school point of view, from the management and the teachers, what we have to do is, we are to inculcate some values in our younger generation. Today, people study, it's not a question of teaching the subject physics or mathematics or commerce. A teacher at least must take, I appeal for this one, must take 2-3 minutes, and the values that I am going to talk to you now must be instilled, inculcated in the minds of these students. Otherwise, we are producing only what is called broiler chicken. They don't have any values. That's very important. So, number one there is, you must understand this is your motherland. I have been in and out of America for 30 years. I still love my motherland. That's what I'm here. I feel I can do a better service than British service to the United States. So you must have some feeling of patriotism. This is what is lacking. And teachers and school must also off and on broadcast some patriotic songs of the past. You get a feeling. And also possible, daily even possible. And also, in our education system, I feel we have to also introduce, whether it's not in the syllabus even, like we have discussed with our panel vice principals, whether we can introduce some what is called political science. Here students must understand little politics, true politics. Otherwise you don't know whom to vote, what to vote, when to vote. That's very important. Otherwise you get fools like, you know, this, I don't forget, I'm sorry to mention that name, that Veeravansa, he once said, you don't want to do google.com, not necessary. That is his knowledge. These are the people in the government. You all must be educated, you must be disciplined, cultured, you must have values, you must be patriotic. If you are patriotic, we can look through freedom. Now, for example, there's a serious, there's what is called a serious problem with this man-elephant conflict. Our forest cover is dwindling. Why? Politicians have given authority to some useless, irresponsible people to clear the jungle. Forest is for the animals. So animals don't understand that they have to move out. When they have to move out, they set what is called illegal ways. They try to kill these animals. In this country, if I am right, about 240 odd elephants die every year. Your children will be able to see these elephants in pictures if this continues. How bad it is. So we should not elect to the parliament jokers, cranks, weak men and charlatans with some gift of gap. They are not the people. Educated, disciplined, cultured, patriotic people must be selected. So all must, next important feature is, ladies and gentlemen, my dear sons and daughters especially, you must love the nature. Nature, you are a part of nature. Nature is not a part of you. You feel that you will be dead against anything that they go against. I think there was some time ago, there was where people, government wanted to sell this Epavala project, which is a gold mine. Some politicians at that time. I don't trust any politician. All are corrupt to my knowledge. Epavala case, right? But there's a landmark judgment given. I think one lawyer brought the issue, what Mahinda Thero said to King Devananda Peeti said that time.